Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you are, you might be listening slash watching. Thank you for making us part of the day. I'm Justin,
I'm Alexander.
and we are the hockey podcast you're about to hear. And Alexander, do you suppose if a cop pulls over a U-Haul, did he bust a move?
Yes,
Right? Yeah. So you just send that one packing, huh?
please.
Only at a speed of 55 or something, right? Though I mean, I can't go too fast with
Oh, goodness.
it.
It used to be just one. It used to be
I
just
know.
one.
And somewhere along the way, it's kind of evolved and multiplied.
It's definitely multiplied.
It's like those packing peanuts. You just always see them show up weeks after you're done using them.
Oh, oh,
Yeah.
oh my
So,
God.
on that note, where should we start?
Well, where we currently at is in that 7-day break between the conference finals and the Stanley Cup final because reasons. This is what you get when you get in bed with ESPN folks is the NHL doesn't dictate their schedule anymore. The ESPN network does. It's why the season schedule doesn't start till mid to the end of October,
Ugh,
and why it concludes on opposite days of their basketball coverage, because that's the way ESPN wants it.
right.
And
Well, to be
so
fair, I'm glad it doesn't
it was as it is.
coincide with NBA Finals nights. So, but yes,
Well,
the
but
rest of your
like
points stand.
you could have started it now,
Oh yeah.
like you could have moved things up, but they didn't because like, well, nope, we got other things that we have scheduled for that time slot, so you can't do your games. It's like this is dumb. This is very very dumb. But
Yep,
we knew that
agreed.
we knew that from the start of the playoffs when they said, "Hey, round one is these dates to these dates, two these dates." Like we knew the finals were going to take place between the it was the 6th or the 8th was the first day that they could have possibly
Hmm.
started, and the 24th was the last day. And look, we're going to get the 8th through the 24th. Amazing.
Hey, how about that? So great.
So that's where we are. We are waiting in this temporary limbo, waiting for hockey. It has been 3 days since I last watched a hockey game,
uh,
and I'm starting to turn. We got
same.
3 more days to go before it shows back up. So,
Same.
and then it goes away for the summer. So we're to our last potentially 7 games of the season. So
All
there's
right.
that.
Let's hope.
But
Let's hope it's 7.
getting to this point, Justin, give me a
Yes.
letter grade. How have the
Hmm.
playoffs been so far?
You know, I think I've been pretty excited with them overall. I think the only thing is like more game sevens would have been nice. More overtimes would have been nice. I don't know. I don't think I've been disappointed. I mean, disappointed with a few outcomes, but other than that, so I'd say probably like a B plus, A minus. Feel pretty good about this
I
run.
I will not go higher than a B.
Okay.
Okay. And we are going to go through round by round here, just talking about some of the series and stuff, whittling our way down to where we are today. Because I don't know if you know this, guys, but we're not going to tell you who's in the final until we get to the final.
That's
Or
what you call a
are we going
teaser.
to let it slip? We'll see.
Yeah.
Uh, I found very few series that I found engaging. For like, ooh, I want to make sure I watch the end of this series, or like
Mm,
watch this game. Like nothing really clicked for me. And to give a little bit away, this season has kind of gone chalk, as in
oh, that's
we
very
did
true, actually.
we didn't have an 8 seed like Florida last year, knock off the President's Trophy winner, go on a run, get hot, get to the
Yeah.
cup final. It's been like nothing has been surprising so far. There hasn't. I don't think there's been a single series result that I'm like did not see that one coming. So it's all
Hmm.
been very predictable. I kind of lame to a degree because like part of what makes the NHL playoffs fun is like, look, just get in, anybody could win it. Just get in, anybody could
Right.
win it.
Hmm.
And when it goes chalk, it's like this feels a little more NBA-ish to me.
Right. No, that's fair. That's
So
fair.
haven't been particularly enthralled with it. Also, the whole 17 different networks at
Oh, yeah.
four or five different start times
That's always
that
miserable.
move based on the previous games. Like, did it go to overtime or not? Well, we're gonna fudge this. Hey, now you can't watch the game you're gonna watch. You got to go to this network
Yeah.
that you don't have access to until this game ends. It just
That's also the worst. Yeah.
I don't know that other sports do it that way. I just know hockey does, and it drives me crazy.
Yeah. No, I hope that either ESPN or TNT will get full custody, for better or worse terms. They don't have to
This is
bounce
not
around as
enough.
much, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, we're locked into this deal for 5 more years.
Is it
It
that
was a
many?
7-year deal.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it was a 7-year deal, and this is year 3. Is this the
Yes.
conclusion? Yes, because we
Yeah.
did
So,
ESPN, TNT, and this one.
so
So then it was a
4 more years.
7 or 8 year deal.
Yeah.
It's
So.
more either way. It's more
Mm.
years. So, but with that said, let's get on to what I will say was the less than stellar round one.
I will give you that.
What,
The only good thing about round one is there's just a ton of hockey to watch.
there is a
Until
ton
there
of hockey.
wasn't. Until there wasn't.
Yes. Yeah. And the reason there wasn't is because 5 of the series
Hmm.
went 5 games or less
Yep.
in the first round.
Which
We
is
had
insane.
2 of them go to game 7. So that was nice to have a couple game 7s. But by golly, those
Man.
the first round should be like has typically been like the best hockey,
Yeah.
and I didn't really feel like it was. So how do we get to what to what to what? Um, Dallas beats Vegas in 7 games, which was interesting because
Hmm.
that series started out with Vegas winning the first 2 games in Dallas.
Right. And you're
So
like, oh
Vegas went
boy,
up
here we go.
2-0 on Dallas, and then found a way to win one more game over the next 5. So that was kind of a wah wah wah.
Yeah, but nobody had any sympathy for them, so
Um, Colorado basically kind of reverse sweeped Winnipeg,
right?
and
That was always
really
interesting
kind
when that
of
happens.
cruised to them by the time it was all said and done. Vancouver beat Nashville in a series that seriously 1 goal here and 1 goal here changes that series
Oh
completely the
yeah,
opposite way.
that was
Like it
insane.
was incredibly tight. Also, it was on at 10:30 or later every single night, and I was like,
Oof.
guys, can't really watch this
Yeah,
for
that's
the
rough.
East Coast, which I
That's
know
rough.
most of our fans are not in, but whatever.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Totally fine.
Edmonton handled Los Angeles for the 3rd year in a row, so that wasn't particularly exciting.
And
It's
one
like,
less game than the previous year, also. So
yeah,
there's that.
yeah. It's like, okay. Um, Carolina dispatched the Islanders in 5 games. No surprises there. The
Hmm.
Rangers sweep Washington. No big shock.
No
Whoever
surprise.
was in that second wildcard spot, whether it was Detroit or Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, whoever,
Uh-huh.
probably wasn't going to get a game against the Rangers either way.
No.
And so that was just kind of a, well, we need a 16th team in the playoffs. So who wants to take it? It's essentially the
Right.
NCAA basketball tournament. It's like, you're the 16 team.
Sure.
Um,
Come on in.
Tampa Bay did not have much of a fight for Florida.
Yeah.
The really the guard has been changed in that state. I think
Sure
officially
has.
at this point.
Hmm.
They took them out in 5 games, and then the Boston Toronto series, I will at least say was entertaining
Uh-huh.
because it's Boston Toronto, and this is the 4th or 5th time they've done it now.
Something like that.
Um,
Yeah.
I think it's the 3rd time it's gone to a game 7,
Third time in like 4 years or something like that.
and the game 7 went to overtime,
Oh, that was
and the
juicy.
game-winning goal in overtime was just ridiculous. So that
Yeah,
that I feel like was the best series of the entire playoffs.
I would agree.
Like I was captivated by every single one of those games,
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
and all the weird stuff going on. Of like Matthews is ill, Matthews isn't ill. Where's Nylander? Oh, he's got migraines. Does he have
Uh,
migraines? Has he got something more serious? Who's
uh,
playing goal here? I don't know. Like,
they scored a garbage time's goal, but it fixed the whole or changed the whole rest of the series.
oh, Boston Toronto was fun.
Yeah,
So out of the opening round of 8 series, I feel like I got my money's worth out of one of them.
yeah.
So
I mean,
not
I
that I
think
spent
the
a ton.
Dallas Vegas just because it went 7. Those were some fun
Yeah,
games to watch.
those were also late games, and I just
Also
I
true.
just
Yeah.
couldn't do those.
No,
Like
that's fair.
I had to pick like one round or one series to watch as with late games, one round to watch early games, and get them to line up on the same night, so that
Mm-hmm.
you have a hockey night and then you have a sleep night, a hockey night and a sleep night.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so
Typically, you got the second and third periods of the early games and the first and second periods of the late games. So
Mhm.
it's like, yeah, I'm not signing up for any of these yet.
And also, like you said, there was not enough overtime. Like with this
Yeah,
many
so weird.
games, you should have more overtimes, more drama. And for some reason, well, I think I've said this personally, maybe I haven't said it on here, is without my team in it this year that could have been in it, the
Yeah,
playoffs are kind of
that's the worst.
like watching your ex-girlfriend go to the dance with somebody else. Like,
Yeah,
it's like, it could have been me if I hadn't messed it up, you know? And
yeah.
so I think that's maybe a little bit why I really didn't buy into the first round, apart from that Boston Toronto series.
No, I know how that goes. Whenever the Flames make it and then get bounced, that next round's always the hardest for me to watch. So yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Um, then we move on to round two,
Hmm.
and round two is Florida Boston, which I know Boston won a couple games, but I never felt like Florida was going to lose anything in that series to Boston. I don't
Yep.
think Boston really thought they were going to beat Florida.
No,
The
that
Dallas
was a fun
Colorado
series to watch.
series kind of fell apart because Valerie Nichushkin violated
Oh
his
golly.
um, player assistance program rules, and so he's been suspended for 6 months. And it happened like in the playoffs, so it's like
Yeah,
they
like
lose
day of game
a,
two or game three or something like that.
a key piece to them in that series. I think it just deflated that team to the point where it's like, even if we get past Dallas, we're not winning another 8 games without him.
Yeah,
So
that was
like he was
that was rough. Mm.
he was critical in their championship run. So it's like
Wasn't
you kind
he
of need that
getting
guy.
a point a game or something like that, or a point in every game or something?
He's just there's some guys that are just like playoff players that
Hmm.
are like big bodies, can score, make life hard for the other team, do the little things right. You don't notice them as much in the regular season. They don't put up, point per game stuff, but you get into the playoffs and it's like this, like what we said, there's regular season, there's playoff hockey. Playoff hockey is their sport. You know,
Hmm.
they don't play regular season hockey, they play playoff hockey. And so he's one of those kind of guys.
Yep.
Um, the Rangers Carolina series was 3-0 New York in the blink of an eye, of which Carolina at least stretched some games out, but that really was it was essentially a sweep. I mean, it really was like
Yeah.
you didn't really think that Carolina was going to come back on the Rangers. It was just kind of like a little speed wobble, I guess,
Yeah.
to a degree. I don't know.
Two overtime games in that one, so you know. But yeah,
Yeah,
once the Rangers took the third game, it's like, yep, this series is over. So just formality at this point.
yeah, yeah. I mean, apart from seeing like for like the fourth time in history, that's what it was going to take. It was like, okay, at that point, I don't care about that series anymore because I don't expect Carolina to come back. So why bother? So that was disappointing. Then the Vancouver Edmonton series, which I do find more entertaining,
Hmm.
um, had actually had some physical play. Actually had a suspension in it. Like, oh my
Oh,
gosh, a
that's right.
suspension.
Yeah,
I think that's the only suspension so far the whole
I
playoffs,
believe that's
which is
correct.
crazy to me. Well, as long as you don't count Val Nichushkin for six
Well,
months.
yeah,
But
yeah.
uh,
Well, that wasn't like, as a result of in-game action, so
yeah.
technically, yeah.
And so at least Edmonton, Vancouver went to 7 games. So that was cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, game sevens are always fun, but it just felt like a game seven where, yeah, it was a strange game seven. The game
It
sevens are always a little
was.
different, but this one felt strange.
Yeah. Like I think
So
Edmonton's gonna win. Vancouver's not really doing much. Did Vancouver remember it's game seven? Hey, Vancouver, poke, 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 do something. Oh, there's 5 minutes left of the game. All right, I guess we'll do something.
yeah,
All
so
right.
yeah, I mean, cool. It would have been cool if that had gone to like an overtime too and got a dramatic moment, but
Yeah,
no, it kind of fizzled.
a little bit.
Um, and that was round two. Like nothing there super interesting, I guess. I guess I was hoping things would be a little bit more entertaining. They weren't. But then we get to our conference finals, which at least on the conference finals, you have one hockey game every night,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Which I'm so
This one,
glad they did that schedule. That was so nice.
It is, but they're like, how about one at 8 and one at 8:30?
Ugh. No, just pick a time, man. Pick a
Like,
time.
so yeah, they did that.
Yeah, doesn't make
Um,
sense.
which saw Florida playing the Rangers and Edmonton playing
Hmm.
Dallas.
Hmm.
And you're 3 games into it, and the Rangers are up 2-1 on Florida, and Dallas is up 2 games to 1 on Edmonton. So what's going to happen? Because this is the theme of this entire year of hockey: is you're in a game, you can be down 3 goals, you can make a comeback.
Yeah, it's fine.
Happens.
Yeah.
Even in these playoffs, teams would get up 3 goals,
It's
and the team can
insane.
come back. It's
Yeah.
like, what's the point? I thought like the one thing that I love about the playoffs is every goal matters so much, like, or at least it should.
Yeah.
And this year, it didn't seem like it did. It was like, hey, we got 3 goals in the first period. We can lock this thing down. And then, nope. In
Oh.
the second period, it's 3-3. Like,
Oh.
what?
That didn't
Why?
go well. That didn't go well.
Um, is it because it's so tight that just a little adjustment this way tips the balances all the other way? Like you unbalance the scales that equally because they're so even?
Right.
I find it a little annoying, honestly. Um,
But as
I
a
also think,
fan, it gives you false hope, which is sometimes not great, but
I,
sometimes good.
actually,
So.
I'll tell you what it is. It's none of these teams are great.
Mm.
There's a lot of good teams. None of these teams are great. And so I think it kind of has to do with like you have good teams will have good nights, good teams have bad nights. Great teams will be good every night.
Hmm.
They will some nights they'll be great, some nights they'll be good, but they will never be bad.
Yeah.
Um, we saw it with some of the runs like that Tampa Bay went on, where they just
Yeah. Hmm.
once they got the lead, it's like we have Vasilevsky, we have Big D, we have jerk forwards. Yeah, you're not getting anything the rest of the night. And it was kind of fun to watch them lock down their leads when they get leads
Oh yeah.
because it was like you can't score against these guys when they say, "Yeah, you're not going to score. We're not going to score anymore. We're good. We got the 3 goals, but you're not going to get another goal tonight." And they just shut it down.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun to watch. That doesn't really happen anymore. I know people are giving Edmonton credit for being that team now.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know that I fully buy into that um, at all. Same thing with Florida. I think Tampa Bay a couple years ago would beat either one of these teams
Yeah.
handily in a matchup.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. Hmm.
So I don't think any of these teams are great, and maybe that's why it's not as captivating.
Interesting. Hmm.
But like I was leading up to, is the whole comeback theme is that Edmonton's down 2 games to 1, Florida's down 2 games to 1, and that each team wins the next 3 games and ends
Crazy.
the series. It was just
Yeah.
like,
Huh. All right
huh.
then.
So no game sevens, no back and forth drama or anything like that. It was just kind of like, well, turn it
Hey.
around.
Yeah. Yeah. I was
Now,
hoping for at least one more game seven, but yeah.
I don't feel like having all of these series. I don't feel like any team has gotten to a point where it's like, I don't think you deserve to win that series. Maybe to some degree, Vancouver in the first round against Nashville,
Mm-hmm.
because Nashville played them so tough they just couldn't buy a goal against a third string goaltender. That was just like,
So
where
crazy.
did this guy come from and why can't they score on him?
Right.
Because that should have gone differently in my
Absolutely.
mind. But no, so our final that we have sitting here for us is Florida Edmonton, which is fine. I I'm okay with it. Um, I know you probably have a pretty strong rooting interest from previous conversations. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
I think it's honestly either way, either storyline you get out of this cup final, no matter who wins and loses, I think all 4 potential storylines are awesome
Right.
from from a theater standpoint, right? Which is this is entertainment. It's like you want some really good theater.
Yes.
So whether it's Edmonton and McDavid and Draisaitl say, "Look, cup or bust this year," and they go and they win the cup, just like we decided we're just going to do it, and they go do it, great. Or they decide we're going to go do it, we get there and we still fall short, and then
Mm-hmm.
okay, is this the heartbreak you need to now go on a win 3 in a row, or is this the heartbreak that causes you to dismantle the team and be
Right.
like,
Bring up the
all right,
band. Yep.
yep, yep. For Florida, look, you were here last year and you were nowhere near healthy. and it showed in that final. It was
Oh yeah.
terribly obvious in that final. It was hard to watch. But you're here healthy. This is your redemption. This is you saying, okay, if we're healthy, we're going to get it again, and just kind of plowing through like their 3 rounds. Like I never really thought for a minute that they were in huge trouble at any point. Like maybe say they were down 2-1 to the Rangers, but the Rangers were a good team too.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like with the 2 overtime losses, it was like, wait, you could lose 2 games in overtime in a series and still win the series? I think you were definitely the better team.
Yep.
So, and then if Florida loses again and you lose in back-to-back years, it's like, and
Ugh.
then they have all these free agents that like this is like the last like their current window because that team's going to change dramatically in the off season. I,
Right.
I think all 4 of those storylines, no matter who wins and loses, I think is great and gives us plenty of stuff to talk about and speculate on and look back on. So I'm really happy with this final. Also, there is one stat about this final, which I'm sure you have heard, that doesn't really matter to me as a fan, but matters to those involved. Do you know what stat I'm talking about, Justin?
I don't think so actually. I mean, I'm sure we'll let you say it, but I can't.
This
Can't.
is the furthest apart
Ah.
two
Yep.
teams
Yep.
ever played in the finals, like when measured longitude, latitude wise, or something. Like again, even that has a qualification on it because some people are like, well, it's further from Boston to Vancouver, and that one happened.
I was saying I
But
thought
they're
it was
like,
Vancouver and
no.
Boston or Vancouver and some other team, but yeah.
Um, so either way, it's a very, very long ways to travel between the two. And so,
It
and
is.
they had this set up anyway, but at least in this one, I can justify it. When the final
Yep.
is like Tampa Bay, Dallas, and it's like, guys, you're like a
The travel
3 hour
day.
plane ride
Yeah.
from each other. You don't need a travel day. But when you and all the media and the referees and everything are traveling pretty much all the way across the North American continent,
Yep.
um, a travel day is justified.
That
So
was, no, that was my thought on it too. It's like, oh, ugh, they got the travel day. Oh, that's annoying. Oh, it's Edmonton, Florida. Okay, yeah, no, that's yeah. I'd want the travel day too. That's a pretty rough turnaround.
so
Yeah.
it's the long distance cup. Now,
Right.
maybe you remember this back in 2020, season was cut
Mm.
short,
Hmm.
and they ended up playing in Edmonton and Toronto for the first few rounds, and then the last couple of rounds they joined up in Edmonton and handed out the cup to Tampa Bay in Edmonton. And so
Uh,
the cup has been awarded in Canada, but it has been won by Canada. Could the cup be awarded in Canada again this year in Edmonton? Just again, not to a Canadian team.
right. Yeah.
So my question for you is does Florida win this in 4 games or 6 games to complete that storyline?
Right. Hopefully at least six. I don't want to. I mean, well, actually, this is like the one time I wouldn't mind a sweep in the Stanley Cup final. If Florida
I,
sweeps Edmonton, I'd be totally fine with that.
I cannot possibly imagine Edmonton getting swept. Like
Well, I can't
you
either.
would have to you would have to like break McDavid's leg in the first game and then decapitate Draisaitl in the second game in order to keep Edmonton from winning a single game this
Hmm.
series.
Yeah. Like I don't think it's gonna happen either. But if it did, I'd be good with
Um,
that.
what I'm hoping for is a series that goes 6 or 7 games,
Sam.
and that the winner of the series wins it on home ice
Yeah.
in front of the fans. Like either give Edmonton, McDavid, like, okay, we knew you'd eventually win one. This is your one in Edmonton. However, 31 years, whatever, since the Canadian team last won a cup. Yada yada yada. Your fans are just absolutely nuts, kind of thing. Have your moment. Or Florida, hey, we've had some really bad years where nobody showed up, but you're all here now
Mm.
because we're winning. This is what the Stanley Cup looks like, and we get to show it to you.
Yay.
Either way, win it at home.
Yeah, I always feel bad about the team that wins on the road for the fans. Have to watch somebody else get around with the cup if they stay and watch. It's like, ugh. It's like that moment should be shared with the home fans. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, uh, yeah, that's my hope. Like, because there's while and this will kill you to hear me say this again. I like Edmonton because I like McDavid because he's a
Yeah.
neutral Western Conference thing to me. So like I can cheer for him because I don't have any deep rooting ties
Oh yeah.
there.
Yeah, if
And
he's in the
so,
East, I'd have no problem cheering for him if he was in the East. Yeah.
or even if he was just like in the Pacific or the Central, right? You know,
Yeah,
like it
that
was
too.
just like
Yeah.
at least
Like
not in
McKinnon,
your division.
you
Yeah.
know. I don't mind watching
Um,
McKinnon. He's exciting to watch.
yeah. When it's your true rival, that's hard.
Yeah.
Um,
A little
which I don't feel Florida is my true rival, even though they're in our division, because we're
bit.
nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
The Red Wings are nowhere in that class. Like
Right. Yep.
not even maybe 3 years will be where Florida is now. Um, and so if Edmonton doesn't win, I'll still be kind of disappointed. But if Florida wins, it's like, man, back-to-back years getting here, you guys really do deserve it this year.
Yep.
I feel like either one of these teams will deserve to have won the cup
Mm-hmm.
based on either this season or seasons long, like the last multiple seasons.
Yeah.
So I'm good with it either way.
Yeah.
If I had to predict, because well, I don't have to predict, but I assume that I'm going to, and people want me to, because they are
Yes.
interested so much in my predictions that have gone terrible
Terribly well,
from
don't you mean?
from preseason on. I did not do well.
Yeah. Once the game started happening.
Uh,
Uh,
I have a very hard time seeing Florida lose this series. They have played so well against all these other teams, and they are now playing probably the worst goaltender they're going to go
I
against.
I don't understand how Stuart Skinner has held it together this long. It's just baffling to me.
Yeah, yeah, it's strange. I'll give you that. So all things being equal, obviously, one major injury or suspension or whatnot could tip this thing significantly. The big question is
Hmm.
how many penalties will Florida take against,
Oh
you
golly.
know,
Yeah.
how many times will Edmonton on the power play? But Florida has an astounding penalty kill. So that would be. I kind of hope there are a lot of penalties on both sides
Eh,
to watch these two teams' power plays go at each other.
right.
Because honestly, that power plays are typically a little more fun to watch than just dump and chase forecheck, dump and chase forecheck,
Oh
right?
man. Yeah.
So I'm kind of hoping for that. But the prediction that I would make, I'm just going to take Florida in 7.
All right.
I think that's probably one of the best storylines you could ask for.
Yes.
Um, I mean, but because they're going to show 10 seconds of Florida celebrating and then 30 seconds of McDavid dejected and mad, and Draisaitl dejected and mad, and then they're going to
Hmm.
give these short little press conferences where they're just grumpy old men, and it's going to be, oh, the heart of the true competitors, they just don't take losing well. It's like, duh, but
Right. Yeah, and then have
anyway,
like six different angles when Chucky and McDavid shake hands. Yeah. Mhm.
and the good thing about taking a pick in 7 games is you're not wrong until somebody
Yeah.
wins it something shorter than that. It's like if you pick somebody in 5 games, you get to the 6th game, you're like, well, so
Oh
you were
well.
wrong.
Well.
Or the team that you picked to win loses 2 games, and you're like, well,
Oof.
they could only win in 6 now, so I guess I'm wrong. You pick a team in 7 games, you don't know that you're wrong until basically it's completely over.
Yeah. Yeah. So. I really hope Florida wins. Just mainly because the Flames connections and they're in the East and I don't care and I just don't want Edmonton to hoist the cup. But I thought about this long and hard. If I pick Florida and I'm right, I'm excited and I'm right. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong and I'm disappointed. If I take Edmonton and I'm right, but I'll be disappointed, you know, or I'll keep me wrong and excited. So I think that's the way I'm going to play it. I'm going to take Edmonton in 6. As much as it pains me to say it, I just,
Th- This
hope.
this is this is about predicting what you think will happen, not what your emotions will feel. Like you're not picking the game, you're picking your reaction.
Well, you see my predictions. I've done so great thus far, so I figure I should change my methodology and see what happens there. And I did pick Vancouver, Edmonton, and Colorado against the field to go, so I just feel like backing that up a little bit. So
Um,
we'll go with that, right? Yeah.
okay.
Either way,
Um,
I'm with you. I hope at least 6 games, if not 7, and no controversy, no stupid nonsense.
I I
Just some
I
good, clean
want
hockey.
yes, I want because last year I felt like we were robbed because Florida was so beat up.
Yeah.
It was quite obvious what was going to happen. It was just a matter of okay, play it out all the way,
Especially the
bleed
last
out,
game that
bleed out.
Chucky couldn't even dress. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
yep, yep, show
Um,
up and play the 60 minutes and shake hands.
I love that both these teams are healthy. They both basically had a
Yes,
full week off, where there's not
yes.
like, hey, we're coming off game seven. You guys been resting for a week. I think that's really good to where like I think we will have the fairest fight possible
I think so.
between two teams that should be, and they're very fun to watch play. Like the
Yes.
way that these two teams play is actually kind of fun to watch, and so it should be a very entertaining on the ice, and then obviously the theater around the wins and the losses and the plays and the calls and all that kind of stuff should also be very entertaining. Um,
I would agree.
Usually, I like to have a villain. Like
Hmm.
stories are better with a hero and a villain,
Correct.
and
Yep.
I know you have one. I
Oh,
do
100%.
not,
Yeah.
and so it's kind of like I guess I'm already pre-selling myself on like being sad that one team's going to win or one team's going to lose because like I'm okay with either outcome. I would really prefer one over the other, but like it's not like oh Boston's going to beat Edmonton. And it's like I don't want to see Boston win, or like Pittsburgh's going to beat Edmonton. I'm like oh, I don't want to see Pittsburgh win.
Yeah.
I have like a hero and a sidekick, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
So it's kind of like well,
It's like Iron Man
only one,
versus Captain America. So
only one's going to survive the final battle, and I'm okay with either one. Although I do have a little bit of a cheering interest, but
right. Yeah.
I don't own any Edmonton Oilers logos or McDavid jerseys or anything like that. Like I own my Red Wing stuff, right?
Right. Yep.
And so
Yep.
it's like it's my side team.
Right. That's kind of heavy in Florida too, especially once Chucky and Bennett went there. So I'd be excited if
Oh.
they won it. So yeah.
Oh.
Anything else to cover? Predict? Talk about? Discuss?
No, I'm looking forward to watch the games. I'm looking forward to all the games starting sometime after 8 o'clock, which is probably like 8:23 or something
Oh
like
my
that.
word. Yeah.
Uh, I'm sad that the coverage is no longer on TNT and now it's all just on ESPN because it's far worse coverage.
Yeah. See, for
Uh,
me, the streaming part of it on ESPN I always preferred because TNT you should have to watch like an ad. It's like, why do I have to watch an ad? I have a login. I'm already paying. Like,
mm-hmm.
eh, just at least with ESPN you can just zoop right in. So that's nice. But yeah, I get what you're saying though.
I will say that like from the app streaming on my TV, TNT is always a little jittery.
Yeah.
I guess
Hmm.
it's not like a highest refresh rate or something, whereas ESPN is much smoother. So that part's good. But it's going to be like ESPN ABC, which is like okay, so now do I have to like get the bunny ears out and get ABC to come in, or do I do it all through the streaming thing? Because like for this, I like to be as live as possible. Like
Oh yeah, 100%.
I know I'm gonna be like 30 some seconds behind as stuff happens. Like also this year, I've been having my nephews and a couple friends over for games here and there, and
Mm-hmm.
so this might be the first year I'm actually watching the finals like somebody else in the room. So that'll be a different
Oh,
experience for me.
nice.
So that might make it more frustrating or more. I don't know. It'll be interesting
Right.
if I have people come over and watch with me. So
Yeah.
that'll be
Yeah. Yeah. That's always make it interesting.
fun.
All right. Well, like I say, hopefully it's a good clean series. At least six, not seven. And hopefully seven and home team sees their or the home fan sees their home team win in seven. So yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
All right. Well, if nothing else, I'm Justin,
I'm Alexander.
and we're the hockey podcast you're about to hear, which you did. So thanks for listening. We'll chat you later.
Bye.